Once we've set up the exchange rates, if we wish to revalue the account inside GP, what we do is we go to account maintenance and we look up the cash count in Canada. There it is there. And we click on the currency button. And when we click on the currency button in the account maintenance, we get this list. And this list allows me to revalue my account. This little toggle here turns it on and off. And I'm going to redo it based on the period balance. So at the end of each month, I'm going to say I've got $100,000 Canadian, and I need to move it from 141 to 144. So I need to recognize my gain and loss on foreign exchange for that 3-cent differential. In down here, it tells you which currencies I wish to revalue for this particular account. Ordinarily, you'd only have one in here. My demo has a whole swack of them, so I just select them all so that it can be revalued. So I can revalue anything that came through this account. So that's how we set that up for here, because we got the dollar values and things like that. Now, inside Business Central, you do very much the same thing. You go to Finance, you go to Chart of Accounts, which gives you the list of your chart of accounts. And then inside here, you click on the value inside here, the geocode, brings it up, and it will have a revaluation tab inside here. And inside here, we can turn on and off whether or not it is an unrealized or realized valuation. If it's unrealized, it puts it to the unrealized accounts. If it's realized, it puts it to the realized accounts. Depending on what you're doing, it will depend. So for instance, an unrealized revaluation would be accounts receivable and accounts payable. So in accounts receivable, what happened, or accounts payable, we bring the invoice in at 1.4, we pay it at 1.45. That 5-cent gets automatically recognized by the AP system as a realized gain and loss on foreign exchange. At the end of the month, I may have outstanding invoices in that particular GL code. So I'd want an unrealized entry, which basically debits and credits it at the same time. So basically what it does is it takes it out for February 28th and puts it back in on March the 1st, so that when the revaluation for AP or AR or invoices are done, it automatically is correct. Cash accounts, on the other hand, need to be reconciled, and they do not automatically reconcile between the two. So they are not unrealized, but they are realized gains. So that would be something that you would set. So I've got it set here as an unrealized gain, so it would hit the unrealized portion, but I can easily just turn it to a realized gain by turning that one on and off like so. So that's what we've got there. So then the next question is how do I know what it is? So when I look at a screen, this is all in Canadian dollars. As you can see here, the 68,503. When I click on the 68,503 in Business Central, it shows me a list of the accounts. So what I've done here is I've added these two things here. We have a source currency code and a source currency amount. The trick inside Business Central is that anytime you see the dollar value with the dollar in brackets, that is functional, what we refer to in GP as functional currency. Originating currency, or source currency in Business Central, is got a source currency code and an amount. And you'll see here that you can see on these transactions that the bottom three transactions, which are the ones that I moved across, they have no source currency attached to them. They are strictly in this case, Canadian dollars. You'll notice that what I've done is I've removed it so that it does not affect, completely removed it, and then so that these three transactions go to zero, so it doesn't affect my revaluation on the total dollar value, so you can see the total dollar value. Inside my debits, these are all in US. Those are all in Canadian, and the ones right beside it, you can see are the thing. Now, are the US equivalents. You'll see here 10,000 became 13.9, so it was at 139. This was at 140, and this was at 130. No problem. We got no issues with those. You see these three transactions here. They have functional currencies of USD and zero inside here for the source currency amount. That's because these were done as a revaluation. Okay, so this revaluation puts $0 against the US because it doesn't change the amount of US, but it does change the Canadian dollar value to move it up to a specific exchange rate, either up or down, depending on the method that you wish. All right, so that's how the accounts are set up. This is also how you can tell the difference between US and Canadian. Now in GP, when we come into here, right, this is a list of the transactions that are going on. So inside here, this is all in my case, it's in the functional currency. If I wanted to see what was going on in the currency, I could click on the currency code here and I can see whether or not I can see it's $9,544 Canadian, 75 cents is what it's at. So 7,158. So this makes this work. And this is how you do it at the end of each month. If you want to see the actual transactions, when you drill on these transactions, this transaction is all done inside in Canadian, in this case, in US funds. If I go up to my view, there's a currency tab, and then you can switch between functional, which is US, and originating. So if I click on originating here, it's now, you'll see it put the C dollars in front of it. That's how you do it in GP. We set it at the currency level, as you saw. We don't get that opportunity to set that inside Business Central, but they do have the source currency code inside here, as you can see beside you. So these are the Canadian values that are going through, and then I've got the ability to do that. Now, when I print this out, Business Central and GP, both, when you print out detailed inquiries, if you include the source currency amounts, because you can put different currencies into the same GL code, they never total the source currency. So even though I know this is a bank account and I know all my transactions are in US dollars, it still doesn't total this up. So I do not know what the total is of that without doing a subtotal inside Excel or inside something like that. So I could send this out to Excel to do it. Same is true over here. If I go print and I go screen and I go OK, right? It just gives me this, but it doesn't put a total here, because if I had US dollar transactions, you'd see them underneath. If I had sterling transactions, I'd see them underneath, and adding them up would mean nothing, because it would be $1 US plus $1 Canadian plus £1 pound sterling does not equal $3. Okay, so you have to be aware of that, and that is true across all of GP, and it's also true inside Business Central. I'll just close that. Okay, if I want to print this one here, I can just hit the button up at the top here and I can go open in Excel, and we go open and it should fire up Excel for me. Hopefully it won't take too long. It fires up Excel, puts all this data out to Excel that you see on the screen. Now I've only got the filter set to this. I could set by the filter that I had on the Canadian side was all in 1 month, but that's okay. Today would be nice. There it goes. So there it is there. So I could then total this stuff up like so that I know that it's $49,300. Okay, because that's the total in US dollars. And I could then write formulas to do that as well. And the total in Canadian dollars is my 69,923, as we saw before. And so this is 49.3 and this is 69. So I can do some formulas and figure out the totals if I wanted to. Okay, I'm just going to minimize that so that it stays open. So there we are. So that's how we look at the accounts.